Hey there, welcome to another Medicinal Monday. I'm Dr. Ben,
And I'm Dr. Susanna.
and we are both naturopathic doctors who empower you to reclaim your health through whole food plant-based nutrition as well as mind body medicine, because you are the healer after all. So today we're looking forward to discussing this topic that so many people bring up, so many people ask us about and talk about in their lives. And that's the idea of cheating, like a cheat day, or like just kind of having a little bit of this that we know we shouldn't have, but like we just allow ourselves to do that because we're nice like that. So how do we relate to this? How can we relate to this in a healthy and sustainable sort of way while not sacrificing our well-being, but also not sacrificing our health and our health goals?
Right. Yeah. And I'm excited to dive into this topic. First, any announcements we need to cover today?
I guess it's Thanksgiving week, so we're wishing you a warm, gracious, nourishing, and peaceful feeling inside as you indulge in all of the healthy things that your body is truly craving this week.
Yes, yes. And so right now, these live sessions are still happening in our Plant-Based and Stress-Free Facebook group and on YouTube. However, we are switching gears. We're in the middle of this transition over to our new platform on Locals. So we invite everyone to join us in the Alter Health Locals community.
Yeah.
You do get exclusive Locals content over there that we aren't posting on Facebook.
Yeah.
So yeah, we really encourage you to come on over there. You can also gain access to our weekly meal guides when you become a supporter for only $11 a month.
And that is alterhealth.locals.com. As easy as that.
Yes.
So let me ask you, Dr. Susanna, do you ever cheat with your whole food plant-based eating?
Well, I think we have a different take on this topic here because no, we don't ever cheat. But I don't even really like this whole mindset of cheating because as we always say, who are you really cheating? Are you cheating the nutrition, like who are you cheating?
You're fooling the nutritional police. The nutritional police.
Yes.
They're going to come after you.
Really, when we quote unquote cheat, we're really only cheating ourselves, right?
Yeah.
But this whole mindset around cheating, I don't even like because it brings this energy of, ooh, I'm being bad and I'm doing this bad thing over here. But really, I think this conversation is really a topic of navigating our food cravings, our food desires, and whether we're really listening to our inner wisdom and our body's wisdom in our choices of what to eat or what not to eat, or whether we're coming from a more kind of top-down discipline, rational logic-based place up here in our head where we're so easy to say, oh, you're good, you're bad, you should do this, you shouldn't do this. But I think really a message that we are always wanting to promote in Alter Health, in our podcast here, is following inner wisdom, following innate wisdom.
But my wisdom's guiding me to have like a deep fried donut covered with fried chicken. Is that a thing? No. But we were just having a conversation with someone earlier today who was asking me, like, how do you distinguish between that inner wisdom and that craving? Because, let's face it, that egoic craving kind of shows up in very mysterious sort of ways, right?
Right.
But as you say, and I think we're all kind of have a different relationship and connection with that voice that's guiding us to just do this. And it's like from a sabotaging kind of place, right? It's from an anxious sort of place, kind of a destructive sort of place, not a peaceful, grounded sort of place. And that being said, there is absolutely nothing wrong with having that voice inside of our head. We all have it. There's also nothing wrong with, quote unquote, giving into that voice. I think where it becomes really a slippery slope is when we place additional self-judgment and hatred and these kind of self-critical beliefs and feelings like, oh, we suck, we're unworthy, we can't do this, oh, I don't deserve to feel good. So that's where it becomes, kind of that slippery slope.
Definitely.
But I thought that it might be helpful also, as you were talking before, Susanna. I was thinking about just this idea that, like, if we're quote unquote cheating, obviously that's going to look differently for everyone. For some people, it's having a steak. For some people, it's having a bag of chips. For some people, it's having like buckwheat pasta or something. For some people, it's having Ezekiel bread with avocado toast. So the fact is that there isn't a perfect way of eating, you know? Like, yeah, we kind of know that whole food plant-based, no processed, no refined, no additives, no preservatives, no chemicals, just organic, natural, whole plant foods. Like, yeah, that's kind of our true north. But who on planet Earth is eating 100% of the time 100% whole plant foods? Maybe some people are closer to that than others, but they don't deserve a gold badge or a gold star or any sort of recognition. They're just doing their best the same way that you're doing your best. And maybe they have greater access to more stuff than you do in this moment. So the fact is, we all do our best all the time, given our environment and resources that we have access to in the moment, along with the state of mind that we have in a moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm actually realizing, I think the best way to really talk about this topic is to actually share from personal experience a little bit. Because one thing that I've really come to realize through my whole food plant-based eating is that, of course, when we eat this way for a while, it feels so dang good in the body. I feel so healthy. And I really see how my relationship with eating and with food is a form of self-care every single day. I'm caring for myself. I'm nourishing myself by fueling myself with the most nutrient dense foods, and it feels amazing. And it's interesting to consider this experience with food now compared to how I used to relate to food, because there were more kind of weird, kind of sticky relationship stuff with food. Like, oh, I can reward myself with food, or I can or oh, I've been a good girl, so now I can eat a brownie today because I've been a good, just weird stuff like that.
And I think that we're kind of conditioned in that sort of way, like,
Mhm.
right? Like, literally from childhood, we're prized with candy and junk food oftentimes, not all of us.
Mhm.
But then, of course, that becomes normalized, in kind of culture by people working out in order to earn their drinks at night or their pizza or French fries or milkshake or something.
Right. So, from, just speaking from my experience here, it's like, gosh, really, I am at this point now where I feel so good staying consistent with whole food plant-based eating that I'm really not even interested in quote unquote cheating or like going off and splurging on this or that. I mean, yes, of course there are the situations where, for example, Thanksgiving is this week. And yes, we are going to enjoy a delicious whole food plant-based dessert and maybe some more rich foods that we don't eat on the regular,
Well,
but I still don't see that as cheating at all. I
Look-
still see that as nourishing myself.
And let's
with-
just step back. Like, when you said a whole food plant-based Thanksgiving, we're actually for sure, like, legitimately having a whole food plant-based Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And when you say indulging and stuff, like, yeah, it's just like, what are you talking about? Like the vegan carrot cake or something like that, with maybe some maple syrup in it and like a cashew frosting or something like that. And like, that's back to my point where it's like, yeah, that's our quote unquote cheat,
But it's not
but
a cheat.
we're not even, it's like nowhere near that, because we're just indulging and enjoying our sustainable lifestyle. We factor that in to the overall big picture lifestyle. And I think that really that's so helpful and healthy, not only from a physiologic component of giving the body consistent nourishment and routine on that kind of biochemistry sort of level, but also from the psychological standpoint of really just nourishing yourself and not punishing, restricting, and having that sort of relationship. So when we're talking about this, and I'm hearing you, and I think that it's such an important message that we need to consider the physiological circumstances of our body in relation to these kind of relationships that we might have with food. But maybe more importantly is that psychosocial relationship, which is potentially more detrimental to have that sort of restriction and constriction and create that stressful thinking and relationship and tension with what should be our source of nourishment.
Right. Right. And I think a really important distinction in this conversation of like, okay, well, why is it not cheating for us to have this like carrot cake or whatever on Thanksgiving? What makes it not a cheat for us, but would make it a cheat for some others, is truly where we're coming from. And really where I feel like I am coming from is a place of still self-love and self-nourishment, and how I do want to enjoy this, still very healthy dessert. Yes, it's not something I would eat every day, but it's included in my lifestyle. It's not doing something that goes against my values, that goes against my self-care, just because like, ooh, I get to be bad one day of the week or whatever. I think that mindset of cheating goes against people's long-term health goals, because it's like, okay, I'm going to be good and take care of myself for 6 days out of the week, but then on the 7th day, just forget about self-care. And I think that kind of a mindset, I don't know, it's really interesting to me. It's very curious to me. But I feel like that kind of mindset naturally goes away when we start eating whole food, plant-based, and we tune more into our body's authentic hunger, our body's authentic cravings, and our body's just the sensation of feeling better. It just makes sense for us to continue to nourish ourselves consistently and not to actually go against our goals, go against our endeavors with these quote unquote cheat days, but to show up for ourselves in every moment and live aligned with what authentically brings about the greatest health.
Yeah, I'm reminded of some conversations we've had in the Thrive on Plants program, which is, by the way, how we work with individuals in supporting you in achieving health goals. And we hear oftentimes of people sharing like, oh, I had kind of a rough day. I had kind of a rough week. I went out and I was traveling and I went to the drive-through, or went to this restaurant and had some oily this. I had a chicken nugget, like whatever it is. It honestly doesn't matter. It truly doesn't matter for, I think, speaking for both of us here. It doesn't matter. And what it always leads to is a celebration, because really we generally, if not always, experience a little bit of inflammation, physiologic stress, whatever it is, our symptoms, come back in some way, maybe bloating, digestive issues, whatever it is. And it's like that's actually a really good thing, that our body is communicating with us. We're acknowledging the messages that are being sent from our body, and we have that awareness and insight, and we're receiving the communication. We're voicing it to ourselves, and in this case to a community setting that is, we're all supportive, of course. And that's a really good thing, because what that allows us to do is remove that layer of judgment that maybe we have held on the situation for a few moments, maybe a week, maybe anyways, much longer than we need to. And as you were talking about eating the carrot cake, as people are talking about eating, the oily this or that, or a little bit of barbecue, whatever, what the consistent thread is we're approaching it and relating to it from a non-judgmental, just neutral sort of place that's sustainable. And self-criticism, self-judgment, and these kind of constrictive, restricted sort of feelings and relationships are simply not healthy nor sustainable. So in the end, it doesn't matter what the heck that we do. If we just remove that layer of self-judgment, it gives us so much more freedom to operate from a deeply loving, creative, wise place where we are led to generally make the healthiest decisions most of the time, right? When we're coming from that controlling kind of place, relying on willpower or whatever else it might be, then we're just going to quote unquote screw up more often because we got that there's more on the line, there's more on the line. When there's nothing on the line and we're just showing up and living our best, doing our best, then it's naturally effortless.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so paradoxical, it's so paradoxical. Like the less we try, the better we do. The more easy we take on ourselves, well,
it's like the more we try and the more we try to discipline ourselves and the more like the harder it is, the more work there is. It's like you almost kind of need those cheat days. Like, you've been working so hard. It's like, I need a break from all the work I've been doing to stay consistent with my eating. But what we're saying is that consistency, that doesn't have to come from discipline. And we hear it time and time again from so many people who have given this lifestyle, a chance that maybe it's after the first week, maybe it's after the second week, maybe it's after the first month. Who knows? It's different for everyone. But at a certain point, they get to this place where they feel so good in their health that it just makes intrinsic sense to carry on. And it's not work because it's easy. It's coming easily because we want to feel good.
So if I hear you correctly, and this is what I observe as well, it's like some people who tiptoe into this sort of lifestyle, maybe it's 60% whole food, plant-based, 80%, and it just naturally becomes more and more because that's like the who doesn't want to feel a little bit better and better, and when we take the pressure off to go 100% all the way, then we allow ourselves the freedom to kind of be drawn in that direction. And I'll just also put it in there, like maybe some people are also called to jump in 100%. And for those people, depending on where they at, depending on what sort of, nutritional habits they've had in the past, what sort of foods they've been eating, some people really do benefit from doing a cold tofu kind of, cleanse, so to speak, to give themselves a clean slate, a clean palate, reset their taste buds, reset and reestablish that relationship that we have with food as a whole. And I'm not talking about like a fast necessarily. I'm talking about just salt, oil, sugar, animal products, processed foods, like get rid of the junk and indulge in all of the good, real whole foods. And then we start to kind of set that foundation to build upon. So, but we're kind of going off into the tangent of like how to do it, how to move more fully into a whole food plant-based lifestyle. But even that seems weird. It's like, I don't know, some days we're 100%, some days we're 92%. Maybe when we go out to pizza a couple times a year, it's 84% whole food plant-based. And in the end, we just do our best. In the end, we listen to our inner wisdom, do our best, and follow the messages and wisdom of our body.
Yeah. And I want to bring it back just real briefly. One more point on this quote unquote cheat topic, that for some people, having some of the quote unquote cheat foods or having some of I'm just going to change it to some of the non-whole food plant-based foods is really part of their journey. It's really part of the process of connecting deeper with their body sensations, their body's healing. And really often how we see this is that over time, we see it in our clients where, like you said, oh yeah, I had that sub sandwich, or oh yeah, I had the fried chicken, and oh yeah, it didn't feel very good. I don't think I'm going to do it anymore. And what was once a really sticky, like, oh, I gotta have that fried chicken, suddenly turns into, oh yeah, I nope, I'm just not going to do the fried chicken because I know it doesn't feel that good and it doesn't even really taste that good anymore. That process can actually be really easy. Once again, it doesn't need to be this sticky, tense, like we're feeling like we're working against ourselves. Our innate wisdom has our back. And if we tune in with our body's messages and we just do what really makes sense, it guides us to health. It's when we're working against ourselves that we find ourselves more, gosh, I mean, it creates a hard relationship with ourselves, and it actually creates more physiological stress and kind of subsequent weird relationships with food from that. So
I think the moral of the story is collaborate with your inner wisdom, collaborate with your highest self and the messages from your body, rather than criticize and rather than control and restrict, because you got it. We all have got it. And we're just maybe expecting too much of ourselves. So if you are looking for more support in your whole food plant-based healing journey, more information, more empowerment, more understanding of what's going on in your body, you can check out the Thrive on Plants program. This is how we work with individuals in that kind of group supportive sort of setting.
Yes, and I just would like to add also, because it's Thanksgiving, that if you're looking for a good whole food plant-based Thanksgiving dish that you can bring to your family's gathering, or if you're creating your own whole food plant-based Thanksgiving at home, check out my new recipe blog. I will be posting it later today, the Autumn Harvest Pie. It is so delicious and wraps all of Thanksgiving flavors into one dish. We already had it,
actually. Susanna had to try it out last week, and I concur that it is the best dish on the Thanksgiving table.
Yeah.
And we're going to be having it again.
And if you're looking for other Thanksgiving dishes to kind of complete the night, then you might be interested in last week's meal guide that we posted to our locals community. So head on over to the Alter Health locals community, and you'll find all sorts of other good stuff there as well.
alterhealth.locals.com. So thanks again, you guys, for tuning in. Thanks for putting one foot in front of the other in your whole food plant-based lifestyle. And we look forward to you tuning in and seeing you guys next time.